Hello, my friend Pastor Kurt here, and as always, got a question for you. What is wearing you out? Now, I know a lot of you work a lot of hours, you study a lot of hours, but I don't think it's the amount of hours you're working that's wearing you out. The biggest factor wearing you out is drama. It's all that worrying and thinking about relationships that aren't going right. It's your boss and your coworker and your kids and your students and your spouse. The drama is wearing you out. Here's what David says in Psalm 133:1. Behold, how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell in unity. You want to lower the drama? Get more unity in your life. How do you do that? You gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the work. In fact, it's hard, but the end pays off. You want some proof of that? Listen to this. My kids, I'll finish with this story, got into this horrible cycle while I was traveling quite a bit. This was right before we moved to Elk Grove, of just battling with each other. They could not get along. Does anyone have kids like this? I just wanted to rename all three of them We Are Legion. I mean, first of all, they're separated by 5 years and 4 years, so they don't have anything in common, and the youngest one annoyed the oldest one, and the middle one was always stuck in the middle, and she was really sensitive, and whenever there was conflict, she would cry, and it was just chaos. And I would come home from a trip, and I'd walk in the door, and my wife would be in tears, and all three of them would be in tears, and I'd just gotten teaching in 3 states about how to be a great parent. And so finally, one trip I came home, and I was so frustrated. I marched right in the living room. All 3 of my kids are in there fighting, and I sat them down, and they started going, Dad, she said, and Dad, he did, and Dad, and they wanted me to do the judge thing, the judge and jury thing, where I heard all the versions, and I said, quiet. The judge quits. The jury quits. No more judge, no more jury, just sentence her. I'm not gonna hear a single reason why this conflict happened. I'm not gonna judge who caused it, who started it first. I don't care who hit who started it, who said what, who didn't do what, who left their thing out. I don't care. From now on, we're like a military platoon. If one person messes up, we all get punished. Everyone gets punished. My son raised his hand. He said, well, what does that mean, mess up? What does that mean? And I said, if mom is not happy, period. The second mom's not happy, everyone loses a privilege, everyone gets a timeout. Of course, they didn't blame me. So next day, something's going on. Mom starts getting a little grumpy. I marched in there. All right, everyone give me the Game Boys and stuff. Everyone go sit in this corner. Woo, woo. I remember Jesse just sat down like, let's get this over with. And Maddie, who was usually the one who did nothing wrong, would start going, I'm so sorry. I apologize. And she went and sat over here, and Emma just ran. You can't catch me, old man. She just ran. And so I had to make them sit down. And they didn't believe me for like a month. I just kept doing it. Every time mom got stressed, they lost privileges, they had to sit down. Every time. Finally, after about 2 months, you could hear them in the next room, and they'd start to argue a little bit, and they'd, shh, quiet. He's gonna come in there. He'll come in there. You just shut up. And I was like, cool, they're kind of self-regulating. And then in another month, they just kind of settled down. And they just realized not to activate each other. I remember I came home from this one trip. I'd been gone for a little while, and I come in, I gave my wife a hug, and I was like, what's that noise? She said, what noise? I'm like, yeah. It's so peaceful in here. I said, did you give them away, or? She said, no, they're all down in the basement. They're down in the basement. So I go down in the basement. There's this big piece of butcher paper on the floor, and there's crayons everywhere. And Jesse's drawing this really cool robot, and he's battling this giant Godzilla lizard, and just bombs are going. And Maddie has drawn in the sky a Pegasus unicorn that's got lasers coming out of its eye toward the thing. And Emma's not drawing anything. She's just got a pile of crayons in both hands, and she's going, and they're all laughing. And I just started to cry. I said, let me tell you, conflict resolution is hard work. It doesn't happen overnight. But man, the joy, the fruit of peace and harmony. And it's not always going to be perfect, and it wasn't always perfect with my kids after that. But the hard work of biblical, kind, grace-filled, God-focused conflict is worth the fruit of unity and security and families loving one another. Amen?